Museums that collect, preserve, and promote our history. Our military history is shared at the Ontario Regiment Museum. You can find the history of the McLaughlin family, their vehicle pioneering at Parkwood Estates, and more automotive history at the Canadian Automotive Museum. No visit to Oshawa is complete without going to the Robert McLaughlin Gallery to see the Thomas Buckley collection that showcases Oshawa's history dating back into 1840s. The Oshawa Public Libraries also contains an extensive collection of that is accessed by the public. The Oshawa Museum has joined us today to share a presentation, A History of Oshawa. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Melissa Cole, the creator of the Oshawa Museum, to the stage.
And good morning. I'm Melissa. I'm the curator of the Oshawa Museum. The Oshawa Museum is located in Oshawa's beautiful Lakeview Park. For those that don't know where we're located, we have a dedicated team who has the fabulous job of preserving and sharing our city's incredible history. I'm extremely honored to speak to you on this momentous occasion on the history of our city of Oshawa, and also my hometown. We're here today to celebrate the 100th anniversary of being a city, which also happens to fall on March 8th, which is International Women's Day. Women make up over half the population of Canada, yet their experiences have often been left out of the history books. Women did not meekly sit beside their spinning wheels and cooking fires. They became leaders, chiefs, defended forts, passed on military secrets, and became great artists, such as Alexandra Luke, wrote award-winning books and became doctors, like Dr. Jane Clues, Oshawa's first woman doctor. You can discover more about her and others in a publication to be released this fall by the museum called The Untold History of Oshawa. You'll be happy to hear that I'm not going to stand here and provide you with a history lesson, but I'm going to highlight significant milestones, organizations, and people that have shaped our community. And our history does not begin with Benjamin Wilson. Our location has long been a place for transportation and trade, dating back to when the Mississauga used what is known today as the Scugog Carrying Place Trail. This important footpath connected Lake Scugog and Lake Ontario. When American and European colonists began to flood into the lands occupied by Indigenous peoples, this trail would have been one of the few footpaths through that forest that influenced early settlement patterns to the area we now call Oshawa. For many years, the original settlement was called Carrs Creek. Then the hamlet became Skay's Corners. The pursuit of a post office led to the name change of Oshawa, an Anishinaabe word that means crossing place. Our early history includes the development of numerous manufacturing establishments that has sparked comparisons to the industrial city of Manchester in England. Oshawa's notable industries have extended their reach across Canada and internationally. The first industries established were generally tanneries and foundries, beginning as early as the 1830s. And the tanning industry continued a steady business in Oshawa into the late 20th century. The foundries were significant employers for those living in Oshawa, as the manufacturing of metal products came increasingly into demand. Companies such as Ontario Malleable Iron and Peddler People Limited played a highly important role during times of war. Advancements in modes of transportation would ultimately lead Oshawa to become a renowned Canadian motor city. The McLaughlin Carriage Company was founded in 1869 by Robert McLaughlin, who moved the business to Oshawa in 1879. Eventually, his son R.S. McLaughlin established the McLaughlin Motor Car Company. His business became extremely successful, and in 1918, along with the Chevrolet Motor Car Company, it was merged with General Motors. The result was the creation of General Motors of Canada, an important event in our history. It has continued to be one of the biggest industries and largest employers. You can learn more about our automotive story and the McLaughlin family's legacy by visiting Parkwood National Historic Site and the Canadian Automotive Museum. It's interesting to consider the wide variety of products that come from Oshawa's industries, from carriages to sheet metal ceilings, from textiles to agricultural implements, from pipe fittings to pianos. It's a history of significant industrial accomplishment. Over the years, these factories employed thousands of workers who helped build and shape the city where we live, work, and play. The story of any community is also the story of its people, who at various stages in its progress have made their contributions, great and small, to the development of the city it is today. Early settler families included Farewells, Henrys, Conants, and Wilsons. Early industrialists such as Peddler, Story, and the McLaughlins are woven into the fabric of Oshawa through their names as seen on buildings and street signs. The first documented Ukrainian national was Julian Kalinko, who arrived in 1907. 12 other families followed shortly after. The Ukrainian community and Eastern European community continued to grow again after the period of World War II. By the mid-1920s, there were a variety of restaurants and businesses in our downtown. The Globe restaurant was run by the Cito family for many, many years. And George Chow's Central Cafe would later become Chow's Restaurant. In 1924, Oshawa had the world's largest water tower, built by Engineer Smith of the City of Oshawa. It could hold 500,000 gallons of water, was 125 feet high, and all the valves and fittings were made locally by Fittings. At the outbreak of World War II, the Ontario Regiment was mobilized. Our citizens back home stepped up to help with the war effort on the home front, many women working in factories for the first time. The 1950s was a period of growth and expansion for our community, with the annexation of East Whitby, the opening of the library, and the Beth Zion Synagogue opened in 1956. Changes in Canadian immigration policies in the 1960s led to an increase in our Caribbean newcomers. Oshawa welcomed their first female mayor, Christine Thomas, and the city achieved international acclaim as Oshawa's own northern dancer when the Kentucky Derby. In 1972, grief struck the community with the passing of R.S. McLaughlin, whose immense contributions of his philanthropy continue to be recognized in Oshawa and across Canada. On April 22nd, 1979, the Rolling Stones followed the New Barbarians, performing 2 benefit concerts for the CNIB at Oshawa's Civic Auditorium. In the 1990s, General Motors of Canada donates to the City of Oshawa the parkland known as the McLaughlin Bay Wildlife Reserve and the adjacent Second Marsh. And in 2012, the first purpose-built mosque opened with the Islamic Center of Oshawa. Today, Oshawa is home to 3 highly acclaimed post-secondary institutions and is home to over 500 cultural assets, museums, art galleries, libraries, service clubs, beautiful parks, and bike paths. Behind every community, there is a story worth recording and preserving, and our team at the Oshawa Museum is excited to share Reflections of Oshawa, 100 plus years of cityhood, an online exhibit that tells the story of our city through the eyes of those who call Oshawa home. This is based on an exhibit that we launched when our city turned 90. So the next time that you're down at the lake in Oshawa, and I'm going to reiterate what Mayor Carter said, if you're curious about our history, come down and visit us, come by the Yellow House and say hi. Our team would be delighted to share the history of our amazing city. So thank you very much for listening today.